Look at all these bikes, guys. That's good. A lot of kids are still riding their bikes to school. Yep. So, how's everybody doing? Well, I hope. The other day, Monday, oh, by the way, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. How's everybody doing? It's Wednesday at the time of this recording. All right, so let me straighten myself up so I don't fall asleep on ya. Yeah. Monday I called my godmother to wish her a happy birthday. And I got a recording saying her line had been disconnected. But I forgot she had two lines, the cell phone and the landline. Well, like me, she's semi-retired you know, she said that her landline costs like $100 a month, and she mostly kept it for her business, you know, her consulting business, which she doesn't do much anymore. So I was worried. I'm like, oh no, what happened? You know, but then she called me today to thank me for the card I sent. That's why I went to Butler's last week to get one thing, to get a card, the refill on my BP meds, and something else. I think that was the main thing. Yeah, so I told her I was so happy to, you know, hear from her, and she goes, oh, you should run for office. I said, no, I mean it. I said, I got your voicemail, you know, her landline was the only thing I had on my phone, so I got, you know, the thing saying her line has been disconnected. I got worried, you know. You know, I don't know, you know. I started to get worried. But then when I got the call today, I was like, oh, I'm so glad to hear from you. She thought I was just, you know, jive talking. I said, no, I mean it. I was worried, like, why is her line, you know, all kind of thoughts are going through my head. And thankfully she's okay. She's going to Italy with a friend this week, so she'll miss my birthday, but we'll get together soon. And I'm glad to have heard from her. Because, you know, when you don't hear from someone in a while, and you know, you call them and their line's disconnected, you know, you're like, what happened, you know? I'm sure if something really happened, bad happened, I would have heard from someone. But I was getting, you know, tonight I was going to start calling around, like, to her sister and stuff, go, what's going on? But thankfully, she's okay. And in good health, and we chatted, and I guess she had to get ready, make sure everything's secure and all the T's are crossed and the I's dotted. So last night I got a text from my sister saying, what would you like? Do you have your shopping list ready? I said to myself, yeah, I was going to do it today and shoot that off today, but she must have read my mind. She's always a step ahead of me, which, is not surprising. Yeah, so here's what I got. First, the freezer, chock full of, a freezer full of Stouffer's dinners and Marie Callender dinners. And back there, way back there behind the ice is a thing of ice cream. And now the fridge. We got yogurt. We got more yogurt. We got some, alright. We got some yogurt. We got some Pepsi. We got some fruit cups, and we got salad, and we got bread, and we got peanut butter, and of course a full thing of sugar. Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, we got the sugar 2 weeks ago. All right, so back in the chair. So this morning I woke up real early, 8 o'clock, and actually 7:30. But I woke up at 7:30 and couldn't get back to sleep, so I said, heck it. And there's this guy who I got a mix from late this spring, early this summer, and he had a lot of great soul, a lot of great soul on his mix from scratchy old records, which is cool. I like the nostalgia part of that. So I had a tape ready, to make him. I found his address last week, because I was planning to make him a tape earlier than now, but it just didn't happen. So I said, what the heck, today is a perfect day. And I had in my head what I wanted to make him, what I wanted to put on this tape. Some of my library loans and some of my own stuff. And it turned out, oh goodness gracious, it turned out pretty good. I went into another box and I found a CD I bought for my dad, but after he died, I kept it and I put it on a few of the tracks on some previous CDs. I think I made a, moldy oldies custom mix for someone. And there's a song called Love Makes the World Go Round by Lester Lannon. So I put that on there. And as I was listening to it, my eyes welled up. I just remember being in the car with them, going to the store, going to, waiting on the bus stop on rainy days. There was a time where, he was out of work or vacation. I remember this one particular day. It was raining like cats and dogs. And I guess my mom had to go somewhere or something. And he drove me down the street to the bus stop. And I remember that song playing. It hit me. It hit me like, oh, bam. And down came the tears, I remember that song playing in the car, and I can remember the smell of the pipe tobacco and, tapping against the ashtray in the car, and, I'm just listening to the music and just thinking about it gets me. I miss my dad. I miss them both, actually. And, with the computer, you don't really have to hear the song, like the track list when you're making it. But with mixtapes, it's a unique experience. With cassettes, it's a unique experience, You're like, wow, this is a real good song. Oh, wow, I haven't heard this song in a long time. And I forgot how awesome this song was. And I just forgot how much the Lester Lannon music reminded me of my dad. And I remember when I got him the CD, how happy he was. And I got it for him like a year or two before he died. I just, I was listening to it, I was like having all these fond memories, and I miss him, and I remember being at the bus stop, and I didn't say too much as a kid. I wasn't talkative, just spending time with my dad. And I remember it was raining like cats and dogs, and I was just enjoying that time with my dad in the car, listening to Lester Lannon. And that wasn't my music, but just being with my dad, it was okay to listen to it, because that was my dad's music at the time. And I guess I inherited this, is hearing this great, orchestras and singers and crooners, and Harry Belafonte, and, Herb Alpert. By the way, it's Alpert, P-E-R-T. I used to think it was Albert, but Herb Alpert, Herb Alpert, A-L-P-E-R-T. Yeah, so I think Stephen Schnee straightened that out one time with someone, or someone did. Yeah, Henry Mancini. Harry Belafonte, Frank Sinatra, Benny Goodman. I told you guys about the story of why I made him the mixtape, right? Yeah, for his birthday in the mid-90s. Yeah. Oh, I didn't? Okay. So those of you who don't know, there was a summer in the mid-1990s, I want to say 96. I'm going to say 96. It could have been 96. No, it was 96. Yeah. So, summer of 96, it would, I usually worked to the summer recreation program at the time. It was only like a month and a half long, but that year they were doing work on the school, so there was no recreation program. And I had a hunch that was, gonna happen. So that's a winter and spring, I kind of pinched pennies, shall we say. So anyway, August came around, his birthday came around, and I didn't know what to get him. And something told me, make him a mixtape. And I said, oh gee, I have some of stuff that he might like, but not everything. So I put on some of my mellow songs, Elvis, some mellow Beatles, stuff like that. And I dug into my oldies compilations, found some stuff they might like. But the rest of it, I had to go sneak down to the den and pull out some albums of his. But I had to do it when he was at home, which wasn't an easy task. So when he was at work or something, or playing golf, I had to sneak in, pull an album, and remember, where I put it, where it was placed. But, I'd pull an album out next to it and go, okay, this album is on the right and left of this album. So it was a tricky task, but I was a sneaky DJ, and I got it done. So I finished it and wrapped it up and gave it to him for his birthday. He goes, wow, these are good songs. Where'd you get these? And I had to fess up and tell him what I did. And he got a good chuckle of it. He goes, well, wow, you did. Good job. So, one day I came home from work and he goes, I really like that tape you made. And when I got into making CD mixes, he goes, can you make me a CD of mellow stuff but more modern stuff? I said, sure. So the creative engine kicked in again. And I made him a tape, I guess, for Easter or something, and he loved it. So one day I came home from work and I heard music. I said, what the heck's going on? I said, did I leave the radio on or something? And I walked in right through the store, and he's watching TV with the volume on and blasting the CD that I made. Yeah. So there you go. That's my story. I hope you've enjoyed it. Stay tuned. There's more to come. Hello and welcome to Saturday. I'm off to the post office and then the library to return the CDs. They might be slightly overdue, but as long as I return them within a certain amount of time, I don't think I'll get a fine. Hey guys, here by the pollinator garden to see if there was anything happening in the ways of bees and butterflies. And currently I don't see anything, but that doesn't mean anything. Mean there isn't. In fact, I just saw something fly by me. Ooh, and look at this, guys. I'm trying to see where he landed, where else he went. But that was a moment of, ooh, what's this? Is there anything like... Okay, guys. And like I said, oh, something landed. I don't want to move too quickly because I don't want to upset him or her. Oh, there's something going on over there. In fact, there might be two bees happening. That's always a possibility. Ooh. I don't want to make any bees upset. see them? I think there's one right over there. There was one right over there, huh? Alright guys, my battery's dying, so I'd say hold on. I'll say peace, love, and keep the good tune spinning. Remember, live with a purpose and walk with a smile. My battery's on its last ounce. Take care.